has made. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the Youth Synod, which started on the 3rd of October and ended today, 28th October. Stay tuned and follow me on the Village Preachers platform as we discuss the Youth Synod on the theme Young People, Faith and Vocational Discernment. I am your host, Joyce Na Ayele Ayi. Thanks for joining us. I have here with me Reverend Father Albin Kisi Enim and Benjamin Sima for today's discussion. Since today we are going to talk about the Youth Synod, we want to know what a synod is. Father, can you help me with that?
When we talk about synod, the word synod etymologically means to work together. So when we talk about synod, we are talking about ecclesiastical meeting of bishops and experts to formulate concerning theological and pastoral issues in order to formulate a document to advise the Pope. Okay. That is basically what a synod is.
Okay.
Well, as Father said, a synod means working together, literally, the literal translation of the word. And so even with this current synod that's going on, there was a point in time during the program that delegates together with some of the synod fathers journey, that is, they walk together from the synod hall to St. Peter's Square.
Okay.
Yes, just to give an idea of what a synod is.
Okay, all right. Father, can you briefly give me something on the theme of the Youth Synod?
Yeah, this year, I want to bring home the fact that there are various types of synods.
Okay.
We have the ordinary synod, we have the special synod, we have the extraordinary synod. What we are having now is the ordinary synod that occurs every 3 years. So the last one they had was on the family. What we are having now is the synod on young people, faith and vocational discernment. So the theme hovers around the youth. That is why people normally call it the synod for the youth.
To start with, taking care of young people in the church is not an optional task. Now, there are obstacles facing young people in the church. How do you take care of young people in the church?
If you look at our church, most of them are the youth constitute the greater population.
Okay.
And they have their various needs and wants and questions. That's why people ask that, is the youth synod important? It's very important because the young people have faith crisis. The church is suffering from vocational crisis, priestly scandals. All these have posed a threat to our youth. Okay. That is why it's very important in this time where the youth suffer from so many crises. The church works together with the youth, listen to them. So the mantra in this year's synod is that listen to the youth. Let's listen to what our youth also have to say, because they also have a say and they have a great impact in the church.
Oh, okay. What is your idea on this one? Because the youths, the young people in the church, we are supposed to take very good care of them because they are the future leaders in the church. So how are we going to take care of these young people in the church? Your idea on that?
Okay, so like Father said, the church should listen to the concerns of the youth.
Okay.
But then it's also a two-way street. So while the church is listening to the concerns of the youth, it behoves on the youth to also listen to the church elders and the wisdom of the church. Because as some of the synod fathers have been saying, the church's teachings is clear. If you are willing to learn, the church's teaching is clear. So it's a two-way street, like I said. While the church is listening to the concerns of the youth are also encouraged to listen to the wisdom of the church. This way, these faith crises that Father touched on, the youth will be helped to find their way out. Okay,
so is it holding more activities in the church so that the youth will join, or what? How? Is it holding more activities? Because now the youth are supposed to be taken care of, you understand? And there are more obstacles facing them. We have peer pressures and so on. So how is it the activities in the church that are lacking, or what?
You know, in this synod, so many issues came on board. One of them is that the issue of sexuality.
Okay.
Whether the bisexuals, the homosexuals, these are issues that the youth always questions. They always bring on board. That what is the church stand? Like Ben was saying, the church have made her stand clear in these issues, but the youth continue to ask these questions. So as a church, we have to also listen to them, and then there should be a bridge between what they feel, what they say, and what the church also continues to say. So the biblical passage that always reflect the synod that is going on is the issue of Peter and then John when Christ rose from the dead. John was a youth. He went to the tomb, but he had to wait for Peter to have confirmed. So as a youth, we all make moves, but the church is there to direct us as to how we should interpret the event of life.
Ben, will you come in?
Okay, well, I think Father has said it. You know, as young people, we need the guidance of the church. You know, the church doesn't teach anything on its own. Whatever the church is teaching has been handed on to us through tradition from our blessed Lord himself. So we need the guidance of the church, like Father said.
Oh, okay, then let me come in with this one too. The youth are passionate about justice, equality, fairness, and desire to be listened to, even when their opinions are not in line with the church teachings. Now, how do you tolerate this? Since we discussed the first one, how do you tolerate this one, and how do you listen to them?
Yes, I like your use of the word listen. Pope Francis, in his opening address, made mention of the fact that at this point in time, the church should be a listening church, to listen to the concerns of the youth, and that is very important. But you could see that so many issues crop up. Like I made mention of a sex crisis. In Africa, we also have our own issues, but unfortunately, hardly will you hear some of these serious issues. For example, like we said, injustice, war, unemployment. These are issues that as a church we should also consider how best we can make impact, we can influence our youth in these areas. It's not only about going for programs and going for seminars, it's also taking critical decisions that will help our youth in these areas.
So do you think we can listen to the youth even when their decision is not in line with the church's teachings, or what?
Yes, when you listen to somebody, you take into account, you evaluate the situation, and then you pass judgment. So if the person feels that he is not listened to, he becomes a rebel. So when you don't listen to the youth, when you don't listen to their concern, they think that they are not part of the church. But if you listen to them and you know their needs and their wants, you can also come out with a firm decision for them. The church has its own teachings, but the youth sometimes we do not understand. So the church has to restate the faith to them again. That is why we call it listening to them.
Well, listening to the youth also has got to do with how, you know, church elders can transmit the faith to the youth, because the truth that is being preached is the same truth, you know, that Christ handed over to us. But then what has changed over the course of the years is that the means by which we transmit the faith is changing, because the way we communicate now is very different from how people communicated a century ago. That's why the church has to listen to the youth to know how they can reach them, okay, where the youth are, where they spend most of their time, and what means through which the church can share the faith with the young people. That's why it's very important to listen to the youth. Not to listen to the youth so that, you know, they change the teachings to suit, you know, the youth, but to listen to them so that they can know how best the faith can be transmitted to them.
Adding some to what Ben said, Cardinal Sarah says that watering down the faith will not be pleasing to the youth. It will not be pleasing to them. So it's not a matter of, this synod is not basically to water down the faith, but to affirm and to also restate the stand of the church. It is not an opportunity to also proclaim a dogmatic statement. In fact, a synod is not meant to make decisions for the Pope, but to advise the Pope. So it will be a document that after the synod, we have what we call the post synodal exhortation, like what we have the Amoris, it is here on the family. So after this synod, we are hoping that the Pope will come out with a document that will help bring some kind of revival in the church concerning the understanding of our youth.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode. Make sure you follow me on the next episode. Thank you.